Me, Jane by Patrick McDonnell. What do you think this story is about? Who is Jane? Has anyone ever heard of Jane? I believe her name is Jane Goodall. Has anyone ever heard of that? I see she has a monkey in her hands. What do we know about monkeys? Does anyone know anything about monkeys? Let's read. Jane had a stuffed toy chimpanzee named Jubilee. She cherished Jubilee and took him everywhere she went, and Jane loved to be outside. She watched birds making their nest, spiders spinning their webs, and squirrels chasing one another up and down trees. Jane learned all that she could about the animals and plants she studied in her backyard and read about them in books. Okay, so it looks like this is Jane's discoveries. This is her research. This is stuff that she found. What do you think she's doing? What is she doing with all of this information? It's called, I see the Alligator Society. I see a wild bird puzzle. I see characteristics of different types of animals. She's identifying some of them. What else do you guys see? What do you think Jane's doing with all of this information? How does this research help us when talking or thinking about animals? How can we use this research to describe the animals that we see or hear about on a daily basis? One day, curious Jane wondered where eggs came from, so she and Jubilee snuck into Grandma's Nuts chicken coop, hid behind some straw, and stayed very still, and observed the miracle. The miracle? What does that mean? What was the miracle that they watched? It was a magical world full of joy and wonder, and Jane felt very much a part of it. Jane often climbed her favorite tree, which she named Beech. She would lay her cheek against its trunk and seem to feel the sap flowing beneath the bark. Jane could feel her own heart beating, beating, beating. With the wind in her hair, she read and reread the books about Tarzan of the Apes, in which another girl, also named Jane, lived in the jungles of Africa. Jane dreamed of a life in Africa too. A life living with and helping all animals. At night, Jane would tuck Jubilee into bed and say her prayers and fall asleep, to awake one day to her dream come true. A dream come true? What was her dream? In this picture, what did she become? Where is she? What is she doing? So a little bit about Jane. When Jane Goodall was 10 years old, she decided that she was going to grow up to go to Africa, live with animals, and write about them. Almost everyone told her the school was impossible. Her family had little money, and she was a girl in a time where girls were not encouraged to pursue adventurous careers. But her mother encouraged her to follow her dream. When Jane finished school and she continued to learn about Africa and worked hard to save enough money to go there, she finally arrived in 1957, met famed anthropologist Leakey, and began studying chimpanzees. One of Jane's most important observations or discoveries was that chimpanzees are able to make and use tools. Until this time, experts thought only humans were able to do this. But based on Jane's remarkable studies, the world is forced to rethink about what makes humans different from animals. So what did she discover about monkeys? And why is that discovery so amazing? Why were they so shocked to learn this information about these monkeys? How does this discovery help us understand monkeys and animals? And how does Jane's research change the way other researchers look at animals when comparing them to humans? What is your opinion on monkeys and humans being the same? Do you think there are similarities between us and monkeys? So, a little message from Jane. Each one of us can make a difference. We cannot live through a single day without making an impact on the world around us. And we have a choice as to what sort of difference we make. The life of each one of us matters in the scheme of things, and I encourage everyone, especially young people, to make a world a better place for people, animals, and environment. So what do you want to be when you grow up? And how can your career have an impact on the world? What kind of impact do you want to have right now? What kind of impact can you have right now at this very moment that will impact you, the others in your classroom, your teachers, your parents, your family? What kind of impact do you want to leave? Just like Jane left an amazing and wonderful impact on the world around us. The end.